Hello and welcome to Raven's Arcana. I am Raven, and this is your daily tarot reading. And no specific question. We're just going to see where the reading leads us, what messages it brings to the table, if you will, and what we need to focus on based on that. And I hope... Holy crap. Well, we're going to start the reading with that one. We'll continue to shuffle. But, man, that jumped out. Shot across the room. But yeah, hope everyone's hanging in there doing well. And apparently we're starting the reading off with the Five of Wands. And so a lot of ideas flying around. Right? A lot of things going on that deciding how to take action. And this could be with other people, with your group, right? Or this could be internal, right? There's a lot of different aspects really up in the air right now. And, you know, 5 is an adversity number. But it doesn't have to be a horrible thing. As we're working through things, as we're embracing or engaging, if you will, some form of adversity, we have to kind of spitball and figure out how we're going to take action to engage with whatever event or group of events are occurring. And we'll see if this is all internal or, you know, if it involves other people as far as really these thoughts and ideas kind of coming out and how to approach something. And we have the Page of Wands, right? So that is that passion that burns inside of us, that energy that drives us, and it has to do with willpower. You know, there's a lot of creativity involved, creative ways, maybe having to come up with a creative way of approaching some kind of adverse event, or once again, group of events. And if you're coming at it in a creative manner, then possibly all other things that you have tried, unfortunately, have just not worked out. So needing to dig deep and almost do a little bit of introspection and think about how it's going to benefit you the most, how it's going to feed into that creative, that pleasure, that need, the desire, and are you going to have the willpower to implement whatever plan that you were about to put into place, right? Wands are all about action. Now, the Page is potential, and the Page signifies you having all these ideas, these thoughts in your head, and trying to whittle it down, if you will. Trying to cross the T's, dot the I's where it makes sense. Now, this can be difficult, as we're not dealing with swords here. We're not dealing with logic and reason. We're coming from a place of really passion that's burning in our gut. But we do follow the Page of Wands with the Fool. And this would feed into that absence of logic and reason, right? With the swords. And sometimes the Fool's journey, while we do need to master our emotions, master our thoughts, tap into our skill sets, realize what we were given and what we can use to become productive and also be creative, the Fool takes that leap, right? So this might be something that you have actually gone through, laid everything out on the table, and went through the process of analyzing everything and it just doesn't make sense. And maybe this is something that is not going to make sense to your mind, but it's going to make sense to your soul, right? And this is a wonderful card to follow this up with. And I don't think I won't say that yet. Let's move on and get a little bit more clarification. And we follow the Fool up with the Death card. And, you know, death is all about transformation. Death is all about bringing things to the surface. And a reinvention of the self would make the most sense following the Fool. Finding out what feeds your passion. Making choices, taking action, putting a plan together that brings you joy, happiness, that fills your cup, right? And I really think that based on what's happening here, and this topic has been coming up in a lot of the readings about finding your passion, finding what makes you happy, feeds your soul, brings you joy, makes you laugh, makes you smile. It's becoming more difficult. And it becomes more difficult as you get older, as you reinvent yourself, as signified by the Death card. The Fool's journey is not just a one-time thing. We consistently reinvent ourselves at different stages of our life. And we have to figure out, you know, what makes us happy, to be honest with you. And I think that's what you're trying to do now. I think you're coming to the conclusion that a change is needed, that you have to take the leap, that you have to leave a bunch of the BS behind at this point. And I think this also has to do with not caring about what other people think. I think you might be someone, and we all, even though I might say out loud or to myself under my breath that I don't give a crap about what anybody thinks about me, under the surface, I mean, I do. We all want to be understood. We all want to be rewarded for things we do. I mean, we don't do things for a reward, but it's nice to be recognized, if you will. It's nice to be loved. It's nice to be recognized. It's nice to be heard and understood. But sometimes we focus on that too much. And it's not productive because we do not take action and do things that make us happy. And I think you are coming to the conclusion where this just needs to happen. I need to do this for myself. And I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care about being judged. I don't care what other people say. But you want to make sure that whatever you're about to do, whatever transformation you're about to go through, is successful and there's progress made. You don't want to lay all your cards out on the table, show your hand, and then lose, right? And so, yeah, going over here, a lot of major arcana in here. We have the Devil. And when I talk about not caring, giving a crap what people think about you, perhaps that has been looming over you. You're wanting to do something that ultimately makes you happy, that adds fuel to that fire in your gut within you. But you're worried about how others, or you have been, will see you. You're worried about breaking some kind of rule of society. You know, Capricorn rules over the Devil card, and that is Saturn energy. And it's all about restriction. It's all about rules and authority, right? And now these are not things that we are bound to forever, but this is something that you've probably defined yourself by. You've stayed within the expectations for a long time. And that has kept you in this state of always thinking about what you really want to do, having that potential, but never really taking that fool's journey, which will ultimately end in a full transformation for you. And that could be a reset. You know, it might not be something that redefines your existence, but as these two cards are back to back, the Fool's a very powerful card, as is Death and the Devil. Let's get some clarification underneath these cards. Holy crap. We have the Magician underneath the Devil card. And when we talk about potential with the Page of Wands, that creative center, that passion center, all of that energy of fire, right? We talk about the fire element representing wands. That is the archetypal, creative, close to spirit energy. And this is all bottled up inside of you. With the Magician, this signifies one, ultimate potential, as the Magician is number one. It follows the Fool. I mean, look at this. You have the Fool going into death, having the potential of the Magician, and it's underneath the Devil card. You are bound to something, to ideas, to thoughts that are almost haunting you. And I think it is coming from your situation, the people around you, and wanting to, you want to get and be yourself, be authentic. But somehow, something is really holding you down. It's holding you back. This is where you want to be. And you definitely have amazing gifts and amazing potential. The Magician is all about realizing, your magic, And it's governed by Mercury. And Mercury is all about, logic, reason, analytics, it's communication, a little bit of health, but when we talk about feeding your passion, and we talked about that grand burning spark, that potential with the Page of Wands. And sometimes the page, right, what is void and logic and reason hasn't worked, the Magician with the Mercury energy and that huge logical aspect, that critical thinking, it's there and it's accessible, but something, like I said, there are barriers up here. And I think this is external influence. And I think this is you not wanting to disappoint people, you not wanting to be judged, you being worried that you will be perceived in a certain way, and almost you're daydreaming. These are just daydreams. And this is almost a, if you had $1 million, what would you do? And you 100% have the same answer every time. but it's just kind of a pipe dream for you. But I think you have an opportunity to do whatever this is. But you're worried about, I think it's really judgment, or worried about how it'll end up. Absolutely. And underneath the 5, we have another 5. So we have the 5 of Swords down here. You're worried about defeat. You're worried about losing. You're worried about when you communicate, when you engage in whatever activity this is, this change in your life, then it will end up in a loss or defeat. Interesting that the 5s are coupled with each other. We have the Devil on top. We have the Magician on the bottom. You come into adversity, and maybe that's how the story goes. Let's see what's under the Page of Wands. And this is a ton of major arcana. This is a big thing for you. And this is strength. Right? Courage. Perseverance. Willpower. You have all the potential. You have all the tools. You're afraid of failing. But how long can you keep all this inside of you? Get out there and tame the lion. Don't be that person that, everybody says like, oh, you could do anything you want to, and they mean it. You could have done this. You can do that. You're so smart. So intelligent. But you don't use it. You're worried about failing, and you're worried. You're tied to something. And it could be your own fear. I really do think it's the fear of being judged. I think this is something that's outside of the box. And we'll continue to get clarification. Another 5. Yeah, so if you take the Fool's Journey, if you step off that ledge, if you leave your old self behind and do this, are you going to be ruined? You're going to be out in the cold. You're going to be, look, on crutches, A lot of adversity here. A lot of worry. The 5 of Wands is not so much... It is adversity, but it's working through it with Wands. We come up against issues, opportunities, problems that we have to work through every day. And that's, working through that. This is a fear of failure, a fear of being left out. And recently in the 5 of Pentacles readings, it's always out in the snow, which is typical of the Rider interpretation. Most of the cards show this, but being left out would play into the judgment from others, maybe not fulfilling expectations that others have for you, worrying about what they think, how they will feel about you, when all you want to do is make yourself happy. Interesting. And so under the Death card, which is the transformation of the self, which is a complete, change in what you're doing right now, a different trajectory, if you will. We have rest. We have the 4 of Swords. We have the easing of the mind, the calming of the mind, mental stability. And I think this ties into you know what you're capable of. You're afraid to fail. You know you need to take that leap and leave some things behind and go at it with your heart. But you haven't convinced your mind yet. I think you are using your analytical skills to overanalyze and telling your heart with your mind that it doesn't make sense. And I think this is something that might not make sense to a lot of other people. It doesn't seem reasonable for them. But I don't think this is anything that is really going to affect them in a negative way. Like, who cares what they think? I think you're talking yourself out of it. And I think that Mercury energy with the magician is almost double-edged for you. You have all this skill. You have the ability to do whatever you want to do. But you overanalyze. Doesn't make sense. I don't think people are going to understand. And you talk yourself out of it. Sometimes we can't make sense of things that involve emotion and our heart and our passion. Sometimes it takes a leap of faith, a complete transformation. It definitely takes courage, willpower, bravery, that Leo energy, that confidence, moving past the idea that you might fail, be left out in the cold, be alone. But you got to work through it. You got to ease your mind and use your thoughts in a way that are productive, not destructive. I'm going to pull one more card for this, and we'll close it out. We end with the Queen of Cups. And the Queen of Cups has that influential energy over emotions. Very emotional, very loving, very compassionate, very nurturing. And I think this is talking about yourself. You have to nurture and feed your passion. You have to play into the emotions that make you happy. You have to fill your cup. Only you can make this choice. And when we're talking about influence with the Queen, you ultimately decide what you are going to do. You have to leave out whatever is holding you back, holding you down, keep you in a state of just having a pipe dream about it, having aspirations, having all this potential build up inside, but never take that leap, never make that change. Don't be afraid to fail. Put together a plan, ease your mind. Get out of that destructive, you can't do it, I can't do it, what are they going to think? Put some of that Leo energy into that fire and that spark. Let that flame grow and feed into your emotions that make you happy, joyful, and I think you'll be free. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And if you like the video, you can give it a like. If you enjoy the content and you are not subscribed, by all means, you can subscribe. And you can also hit the notification bell to get alerts when I release new material. And other than that, Yeah. Feed your passion. Take the leap. Who gives a crap what other people think? You got this. Take care.